Hello, I am Kinjora Ekonokar and I am here to speak on my topic which is Internet Protocol Address Filtering. Okay, first starting with Internet Protocol. Just the word protocol means a set of rules. In networking, a protocol is a standardized way of doing certain actions and formatting data so that two or more devices are able to communicate with each other seamlessly. The Internet Protocol is a set of rules for sending simple packets of data over a network that arrive to their correct destination. It is important to send data over to the correct destination and not just anywhere in the network. So IP does that for us. Also, network protocol works on the network layer of networking model, be it OSI or TCP/IP model. Now, the Internet Protocol is responsible for firstly address host interface, which means providing a unique address to all the host machines. Because without a unique address, it is difficult to know where to where data needs to be sent. Secondly, encapsulating data into datagrams. Just like a letter cannot be sent without a postcard, a data cannot be sent to its original form over a network. So IP adds necessary headers to the data. Thirdly, routing datagram. Routing datagram are actually sending datagrams after the addressing and encapsulating part. So coming up next is IP addresses. As stated in the previous slide, we need some unique addressing system. IP addresses solve this problem. An IP address serves two main functions. Firstly is host identification, that is identifying the correct machine to which data needs to be sent and received. Secondly is network identification, that is in which network the machine belongs to. Lastly, an IP is made up of binary values. Actually, for representational purposes, we use decimal or hexadecimal notation. Internally, it is just binary data. Currently, there are two versions of IPs that are followed, the IP version 4 and IP version 6. IP version 4 is an in decimal representation divided into four parts. In each part, the number ranges from 0 to 255. That makes it 32 bits long, hence providing 2 to the power 32 addresses, which is roughly 4.2 billion. But as time is passing by and the internet is expanding, IP version 4 addresses are getting exhausted. As of 2016, 3.7 billion public IP version 4 addresses have already been used. So here comes IP version 6. Similar to IP version 4, but it has 8 sets of hexadecimal numbers starting from 0000 to 555, making it 128-bit long. Hence 2 to the power 128 addresses, which is roughly 3.4 into 10 to the power 38 addresses. It will take a long time to exhaust those numbers. Moving forward to working of IP addressing. This addressing thing works mainly using three things. Firstly is the routing algorithm. A packet in the network knows its origin and its destination, but it doesn't know the path it has to take. Networks can be large and complicated with more than one path to reach the destination. So an algorithm is needed to decide which one to take. There are many algorithms like adaptive, non-adaptive, centralized, isolated, distributed, etc. Next comes the efficient route. We want our data to reach the destination and we want to happen this fast. So the efficient route is calculated at each node of this network. Lastly, the routing table. It is related to the router. The router internally has a table with the different source and destination addresses with their relative distances. This can be used in calculating efficient route. Now all these things are repeated at each node of the network till the data reaches its destination successfully. Now as we have talked about IP addressing and all, we can safely move towards filtering them. Now what is IP filtering? It is a mechanism that decides which type of IP datagrams will be proceeded normally and which will be discarded. It is simply a filter which knows which data to pass and which not to. So there are some criteria on which the filtering works. Firstly is protocol pairing. Basically some transport layer protocols like UDP, TCP, ICMP, etc. Now, next is socket number. Socket number is the combination of IP version 4 and the port number of the device. It is mostly used in TCP or UDP protocols. Third one is datagram type. There can be different types of datagram sent over a network, like synchronization, uh, acknowledgement, normal data, ICMP, core request, etc. Datagram source address comes next. It is just the source from which the data comes, and the datagram destination address is the destination where the data is going. But why do we need this elaborate mechanism of IP filtering? Firstly, to protect our network. We do not want people from outside accessing our private data in our private space. Secondly, we controlling what IP traffic will be allowed. This is to control what to say and what not. Like in offices, social media sites might be blocked from their employees using IP filtering. And lastly, filtering packet according to our rules. We have the power to define our own rules to filter our packets. Now we know what IP filtering is. Let's look on how IP filter rule set actually looks like. A typical IP filter rule set has this syntax: action, in or out, keyword, and lastly one or more keywords. Here's an example. Block any quick from 192.168.0.0/16 to any. This rule blocks all the data packets coming from 192.168.0.0/16. Other alternatives of these commands are shown in this slide. The rule sets are pretty much self-explanatory. Action defines what to do with the packet. In or out defines whether the packet is coming in a network or going out of the network. Options are the ways the rules need to be implemented, and keywords denote their other parameters needed. Details of these rules can be found on the official Oracle documentation. Coming up to techniques of IP filtering. IP filtering can be broadly classified into two types. Firstly, route filtering. In this kind of filtering, few routes are not included in the routing table itself as they are absent. Packets can't take that route anymore. The second, and also it is used in Border Gateway Protocol. BGP or Border Gateway Protocol is a routing protocol that makes routing decisions based on the paths, the network policies, and the rule set configured by the network administrator. Also, route filtering is written in routing policy specification language. It is the language commonly used by the internet service providers to describe their routing policies. Secondly is firewall filtering. As the name suggests, this fire filtering is directly used on the firewall. It has nothing to do with the route of the packet that follows. It simply blocks the packet from entering a network, and also a packet filter can only discard traffic that is sent to it, or the packet filter must either perform IP routing or should be a destination. Now I'm going to discuss the IP filtering strategies that are widely used. First comes the routing table solutions. In this schema, the decision to route or drop a packet is based on the routing table lookup. The table entries itself define to which destination packets are routed. As stated in previous slides, this routing table is present in the router itself. So by carefully modifying them, we can implement IP filtering. However, this is not helpful when it is helpful just when the routes are static. That means it should be followed specified in the table and must be in a single protocol. Dynamic routes are not specified in the routing table and depends on the network, so they can't be used on the routing table solutions. Next comes input-output filtering. In this schema, filtering is done on the external interface of a network in both input and output directions. This one comes directly from the syntax of IP filtering rule set, as the second parameter in the rule set defines whether the packet is inbound or outbound. The best part of this is the internal routing isn't slowed down and there is no complicated checks. That's why this is faster. Next one is protocol port filtering. In this schema, the destination port is examined to decide which destination ports can be accessed from the external network by applying a restricting filter. For example, any of the TCP/IP services like SMTP, FTP, Telnet, Login, Shell, etc. can be denied from external accesses. We can simply select a port and ask it to not send or receive data. Next is Static packet filtering. In static packet filtering, each packet that crosses the border between internal network, that is intranet, and external network, that is extranet, internet, is examined. The static packet filter examines the header information of each packet to identify the parameters such as protocol ID, source and destination IP, port numbers, router interface, and for incoming and outgoing packages. These parameters are examined and then decision of forwarding or dropping the packet is done, following the fixed set of inbound and outbound rules. Dynamic filtering. In dynamic filtering, we are also known as stateful filtering. Dynamic filtering keeps track of outgoing packages which it has allowed passing and allows only those corresponding packets to return. A return filter is dynamically created and allows the response packet whenever a packet is transmitted from a public network. Also, this schema supports both connectionless and connection-oriented protocols, that is both TCP and UDP. There are many more IP filtering strategies like inter-token packet filtering, which aims to remove DDoS, then ingress filtering, which filters unknown or illegal addresses, and others like source address filtering, TCP acknowledgement bit filtering, fragmented packet filtering, etc. But these five that I have discussed are basic and widely used ones. No system is ideal and perfect. So moving on with some pitfalls of IP filtering. First one is incorrect classification. IPs can be proofed easily, meaning the source IP can be changed and the data packet might try to enter your system as an imposter. Secondly, variable header length. There are many types of protocol and each protocol have different header styles. Even datagrams of same protocol might have different header lengths. Hence, decoding them it becomes complicated and time consuming. We cannot decode every datagram using simple pattern matching. Next comes fragment filter. When a packet is fragmented, some packet filters just drop the first fragment, assuming that other fragments will be useless to the receiver. However, risk arises, hackers might find a way to fool the system. Predefined header fields. This has a severe impact on flexibility. Unless the administrator precisely specify the header fields used for a decision making, the desired security policy cannot be effectively implemented. Future scope. IP filtering is is in use for a very long time, and no doubt we will keep using it. Apart from the pitfalls stated in the previous slide, IP filtering is facing two more problems. They are long matching time. As rules are tabular, a filtering system has to go all over the rules one by one to match the rule and then decide what to do with the packet. Another one is what happens when the filtering system does not find the matching rule. The network administrator has to manually intervene and solve the problem. However, to solve this problem, an intelligent packet filtering can be created and used. With the power of machine learning and artificial intelligence, this system can configure itself without the intervention of the network administrator. Of course, the administrator has to seed the system with some initial data, but after that, the system will learn itself and act accordingly. Also, the tabular structure can be updated to a tree structure for a faster mapping time. Here's the bibliography. The following sites, journals, articles, and documentations were used for researching and developing this presentation. Thank you.